truth is, Intervention came out of a joke.
Right. Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah. I mean,
It was a bit that you were doing on stage?
No. There was a bit that we were doing around the family. My father wears too much cologne.
Uh-huh.
And there's the old-fashioned spill and slap, it's bracing, right?
Uh-huh.
And, I mean, it's awful. I mean, like, you kiss him and you, like, taste it.
Welcome back, guys. We got another great guest on this week's episode of Ben the Menace. I'm very excited to have him here. Sam Mettler, everybody. Give it up for Sam Mettler. Sam. Yeah.
Thank you.
The creator and producer of Intervention, a nice guy from Newton, Massachusetts. Much like most of Hollywood, you're from the Boston area. There's a lot of Hollywood.
A few, yeah.
Yeah, it's great to have you here, man. And we're in your neck of the woods. You didn't have to go too far.
Thank you, Ben. And I'm touched. and you're Boston. You're Boston brethren. You're
adjacent. Yeah, sure.
No. You come from, and actually my hometown, Newton, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Your father is from Newton. So
he's from damn, I had the name. I mean, we've talked about it before. He's from starts with an N. It's like,
he's from no, he's not from Nonantum, is he?
No, Nenham or Nenham. What is it called?
Nonantum.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
That's where he's from. Yeah.
He's from Nonantum. He's from the lake.
Yeah.
He's a mush. That's
maybe.
Nonantum talk.
Is that what it is? Yeah, I don't know. Needham. I want to say like Needham.
That's
is that a place?
Needham.
Needham. He's from Needham.
Then it's another town.
To me, it all sounds the same.
You can't be from Needham and Newton.
Oh, he's not.
That's
okay.
like saying you're from Santa Monica and Pico Rivera.
We shouldn't have even addressed this, but he's from Newton area, and you are too.
I am.
That was the initial connection that we had. Basically, was it? I think so. Well,
okay.
and we were doing this. You were hosting a show that I was doing at Flappers, and then we started talking about Newton.
Yep.
Do you feel okay about how you look on camera? You feel all right?
God, no. You know that.
I think you look good.
I feel like a lot of times I do this or this. So
you're doing this.
2 out of 3 of the chins are hidden.
This is at like dinner parties. You're doing this, or what?
Anywhere. First dates.
Ordering at Chipotle, you just have a pillow with you.
It's so bad. I've gained
First
so
dates,
much
you're
weight.
married.
Yeah, I mean, but
whatever.
When I wasn't. And does that mean I can't date anymore? I mean,
it's Los Angeles.
You're strict.
I think you can probably get away with some stuff for sure.
She'll love that, by the
way. We can cut that.
She's actually fantastic and adorable, and I always say that she's got to have very low self-esteem.
Your wife?
Yeah, I mean there are reasons.
I would actually say that I'm getting married actually this week, which is pretty wild. Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Saturday. Thank you. And I would say something very similar about my wife.
Yeah. No.
Low self-esteem, loser fetish. There's a lot of stuff going on.
And I certainly didn't have money when we met. Yeah. So
That's interesting.
And I don't have it now. So it's.
But that's because you like to spend. That's why, right?
No. That's because this business is volatile. I don't know if you've heard.
Yeah. No, I've heard. I mean, you've been making the same show. You've been making the show for 20 years. How do you not have money?
Because I didn't always make the show. There were times when it was canceled.
Okay. It was taken off the air and then back on?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But also...
So you're not like Law and Order. They've been on... They never went off, right?
I don't know. But we have many, many episodes, but you also got to know that in nonfiction, it ain't the same kind of money.
Okay.
I mean...
for reality
Nonfiction.
Yeah.
Nonfiction.
Well, your show's actually well done, unlike a lot of reality.
It's a nonfiction show. I mean, we are almost as dark as you can get.
Right.
If I were in fiction, if this were a scripted show,
You'd be syndicated.
you think I'd be sitting here with you?
I never even considered that. That all makes sense. I mean, we've had lunch together, and I'm like, how is this guy sitting here with me? And now I know why. Yeah.
No, I mean, God, I'd be rich.
So that's interesting. So they don't syndicate nonfiction, or it doesn't happen the same way.
Let's put it this way. It's hard to syndicate nonfiction television. Intervention has been syndicated, but not huge. The kind of shows that get syndicated are scripted comedies.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Sitcoms.
light fare after the news, right?
Mm-hmm.
To local affiliates. The competition reality shows definitely don't go into syndication, right?
Okay.
Because there's a winner and a loser. They're not close-ended episodes, right? They try Survivor, and I hope I'm not wrong about this, but it was syndicated for a little bit, but you can't watch those shows out of order.
Right.
And
Right.
you know, it builds up to a finale. It's not
Reruns don't really work the same way.
In competition reality, no.
Yeah.
In what I do, they work better because you could
They're
watch
standalone shows.
Yeah, you could watch
Yeah.
episode 12 and then episode 300. You know,
That makes sense.
And it doesn't matter.
Well, what I'm questioning though is like, why not syndicate yours the same way? But because it's darker, because it's like,
Yes,
not
yes,
family friendly.
Yes,
Watching someone struggle to stop doing heroin maybe isn't great for your 7-year-old child to watch.
It's not. It isn't family. It is not family TV.
It's great TV.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe it is too. But it's a very niche.
And I would let
show.
my 7-year-old watch because like she's gonna learn fast.
It's a niche show, and it's a popular show. But you know, it's not the. You're right. I mean, it's not the kind of thing you're going to see after the news, or it's not going to be.
Right.
It's not a daytime show.
But it's mostly just about time slot.
Yeah, really.
That makes sense. But I know so many people.
I mean, I'd love it to be a daytime show.
Your show comes up so often, though.
It does.
I hear people.
Not in my house.
I don't even know what you mean by that. You just don't talk about it? You never talk about it?
No, I'm kidding.
My dad was like that. And maybe that's a Newton thing. My dad never talked about work, ever. My mom would like get weird about it. She'd be like, "What are you working on?" And he'd go, "Ben, let's go watch the game." You know, he just changes. It's like, is he in the mob or something? That kind of thing. But is
he?
No.
Oh.
No, he was in advertising. I think it was just kind of boring, honestly. I don't think it had. I don't think it was like he had to hide anything. He just didn't want to talk about it publicly. But that's not what you're saying. You'll talk about intervention if it comes up.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you know, at the dinner table,
yeah.
you know, you're not talking about the mule who, you know, shoved, 10 balloons of ice into his asshole.
That makes sense.
It's just not.
Yeah. And also, could you pass the potatoes too? Yeah. That's not how it works.
No.
Yeah.
No. And I mean, my daughter likes to hear about it now. Now my daughter's in college, so she likes to hear about episodes, and she's a psych major, so
that's interesting.
Is
she doing like clinical or abnormal or something related to the stuff that you were looking at?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So she's has similar interests to you. Like it might have influenced her.
I think perhaps. Yeah. I'm very interested in people.
Yeah.
I mean, most people.
Well, and weirdos are the most interesting. Hey, what are you saying? Weirdos are the most interesting.
People that have people that have
maybe
problems.
That's not PC. What I just said.
People that have problems are more interesting than people that don't have problems.
Of course.
You want to talk to someone whose everything is terrific?
It's a good point.
No.
Well, and for comics in particular, that just doesn't work. Yeah. That's not effective.
Yeah, I mean, today it's funny we talk about everything perfect, and you. Conflicts are interesting, and problems are interesting, and funny, And I was watching. You do well in this. I think you do a nice job with interviewing, and so far I see interesting guests. I just
now
watched,
we're segueing. Liz Zagoni.
Yeah. So I told you before we turned on, that was the one episode I watched. And yesterday we put our dog down. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And
not
your
a fun day.
Is your dog also named Liz Zagoni or what?
No. Poor Callie. It was almost 14 and really ill and just couldn't make it. Yeah, for
old.
golden. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you're in mourning for your dog, and hearing Liz Zagoni talk about how she overpaid for Reiki for her dog.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, sure, Liz. I would love to overpay for Reiki for my dog, Liz, but she's dead.
When her sister offered to pay, I remember that.
Yeah,
and didn't.
No, excuse me. I'm opening up.
No, that's all right.
A can of whoop-ass.
Go for it. Your can of something that like glows in the dark. That'll be good.
I quit these. I quit. This is. I won't say.
You came in.
I
got to say we've had a lot of different kinds of guests in, especially in the last couple of weeks because I'm trying to backlog stuff.
Yeah.
You brought the most drinks by far.
I am a beverage liker.
Yeah.
A beverage liker. I am constantly drinking. My throat's always dry.
Okay.
And
these are caffeinated beverages. You're getting
yes, well, but I don't if I didn't have to be like up and on the ball, I wouldn't be drinking this.
Okay.
I used to drink 2 what are they? They're 16-ounce cans of, oh Jesus, I almost this table. I'm putting my foot on a table and it keeps sliding. I'm gonna hurt myself. So yeah, I had the energy drinks, 2 16-ounces to start the day, and then a 12-pack of Diet Coke.
Yeah, that's a lot of caffeine.
That's bad. Is that bad? That's a lot, right?
It seems like a lot.
I'm
like
no expert.
Heading towards thousands of milligrams of caffeine for sure.
I quit it.
And
like when I say I quit it,
you don't need it every day.
I don't drink one a month. I don't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Diet Coke I will drink at a restaurant. But it's not even. I don't think I have a Diet Coke
That's
a
good.
week.
That's reassuring. I was ready to do a full blown intervention here
Right.
for Rockstar.
Oh my! Like people were really giving me a hard time about it.
On the set when you were, or when?
Everyone. Everyone. I had heroin addicts.
There you go.
That were telling me you got to give the stuff up. Like in the middle of
So you're watching people abuse substances.
Yeah.
And drinking a Rockstar because you're producing.
Yeah, and they're like, dude, that's going to kill you. That shit's going to kill you. I swear to God. I'm not even joking. And I was a smoker, a heavy smoker. I quit that. But no, I quit it. My wife, who was then my girlfriend, moved out to LA after college. I graduated first, then she came out.
We went to school together.
Syracuse.
Nice.
And
college sweethearts.
Yes, college sweethearts. And she came out, she's like, you better, if I come out there, you better quit smoking. 15 years, quit smoking. Started up intervention. I was eating them.
Yeah. Well, is that just because addiction is contagious? You just saw them being addicted, or what? Or stress?
Mm-hmm.
All of it.
All of it. It was like, that's sad. Just some horrible stuff. And you know what? Funny enough, it also helped me. Seem like
you blend in. Yeah.
I was a dirtbag like everybody else.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
We adopt some of the behavior.
Yeah. Someone would talk about
you.
Yes. And trust is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Whenever you're doing a show, even a show like this, right?
Absolutely.
No one's going to reveal if they don't trust you.
That's true.
And-
We've had some porn stars in though. They reveal pretty quick. It comes out fast.
Oh, really?
They're just so comfortable. It's amazing.
What you said? Porn stars.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're just like, oh, I'm not having sex. All right, I'll talk about anything.
Yeah.
They're an open book.
Yeah, they I would say their filter is calibrated to a finer.
I think what you're going for is filth.
There are some filters, like, I mean, their filters are very wide.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like,
Which for something like this is kind of nice. It's not bad.
You know, their net. If their filter were a net, like whales could get through. Right. I mean, like everything.
That's great. Yeah, I didn't know what you were going for. That's very funny. it's like a 10,000 foot between each band of the net. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing gets clogged in there. It's all getting through. So you're getting married.
Yes.
So what's she like?
She's great. I mean, she's not that, she didn't grow up similar to me. I mean, I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
From the coast.
Yeah.
What some might call a coastal elitist, possibly from San Francisco area.
Sure.
She's Catholic, rural Wisconsin.
Yeah.
The nicest people in the world. Nice.
They are so, oh God. Green Bay Packer fans.
Yeah, they are. They're everybody.
I hate them.
Babies are wearing Packers hats.
They're so nice.
Yeah.
They're so
nice.
I think you can't be an asshole and wear cheese on your head.
And Patriot fans are not nice. Maybe Eagles fans are the least nice.
Eagles fans are horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a certain kind of person to knock Santa Claus unconscious.
That's right. Yeah. And they will definitely, they boo their own.
Yeah.
They boo their own team.
Oh, sure.
I watched the Sixers fans boo Joel Embiid. He's on their team.
Sure.
And he's one of the best players in the NBA.
Sure.
He misses a layup. He gets boos from his fans.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that'll only happen in Philadelphia. And Boston's close.
No, I mean, Boston, this is, my sister tells a great story. She was at a Pats game. It was a playoff game. And she sits, my sister's from Newton, because
you're
she's
from
my
Newton.
sister,
Yeah,
and
sure.
we grew up
You
near
grew up
each
with
other.
your sister.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she was just down the hall.
Yeah.
And so these guys from, let's say, a more towny section. Newton's a more tony section.
What do they call it? Southie?
No, they were not from Southie. Everybody thinks that
That's what I think of.
Southie is.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. No, they're. I mean, New England is filled with townies.
Sure. All the way up and down. Yeah.
And so my sister said, "Oh, hi, how you doing?"
Yeah.
My sister said, "Where are you from?" Because I don't have a strong Boston accent. I don't.
She has a
drop
strong
my
one?
R's. No, she doesn't either.
Oh, okay.
And the guy says, "We're from Avon," and he goes, "Where are you from?" She goes, "Newton." He goes, "Newton. Moving on up." So then these people came in and they're wearing black and gold. And the Steelers.
Okay.
And they got terrible towels, the yellow towels.
Yeah.
12-year-old girl in tow. Parents with a 12-year-old girl. Guy from Avon.
I don't like where this is going.
Goes, "Hey, sweetheart, you're going to be using that towel to wipe up your fucking tears." She's 12. And then, of course, the Pats win because that's all they did then. And
Just like Drew Bledsoe Pats or before that? Way before. When was
it's
it?
Tommy Brady. Come on.
Oh, okay. This is recent.
Recent. I mean, I don't know if you
pretty
heard it's 20 years recent. I mean,
It's 20 years ago.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
21 years.
Early
20
Tom Brady. I'm just trying to get a sense of what time this was.
Yeah, mid Tom Brady is still 10 years ago.
I think he's
11
coming
years
back.
ago.
I think he's coming back.
No, he's not. He's done.
He's doing stand-up. Did you hear that?
Oh, God. Stay in your lane, Tommy. So yeah, you see, I'm falling into the accent.
If you're impersonating people who would say that to Tom Brady, of course you're going to do it. Yeah.
So so they leave. The
they just left during the game.
Well, it was
sad.
A couple of minutes left, and the Pats
we're winning by a lot.
We're winning enough that they were going to go home.
Okay.
And the guy from Avon yells to the 12-year-old girl, "Hey, sweetheart, have a nice winter." Can you imagine? Oh my God. This poor thing.
Yeah, those are intense fans.
Hell yeah.
No question.
Absolutely.
And the Green Bay Packers fans would be so thrilled to help that girl find a seat. They would have no problem with her whatsoever.
I went to the Super Bowl, Pats, Green Bay in New Orleans, and they killed us.
This was Drew Bledsoe. 96.
This was indeed Bledsoe.
Yes. Bledsoe Favre. I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not. Oh God! It is. Not. It was 96.
I want to say maybe 98.
I think it was later.
Something like that. Yeah.
That sounds more. Oh, yeah. Well, it can't be. Susie wasn't pregnant yet. I don't think. Anyway,
in the 90s.
So yes, we went to the game and we lost, and every single person in green and yellow, as we exited the Superdome, said, "You guys are great. Great game. Another year, you guys will have it. Great. You can hold your head up." I hated them all.
Well, it seems condescending.
No, it didn't seem condescending. It was, which I hated more. That they were sincere. It was sincere. There's sickening.
There's an element of the Midwestern kindness that I think is a little bit condescending.
Oh, do you?
They go, bless his heart. Bless his heart.
That's always more South.
It's always after. No, that's Midwestern too. Christina does that. My girlfriend does that. She doesn't even live in the Midwest anymore. She'll say something basically horrible about somebody and then go, bless their heart.
So,
and it's like, that's evil,
So her name is, she's
Kuehl.
Not only is she not Jewish, her name is Kristen.
Her name is going to be basically Jesus Herwitz. Christina Herwitz.
But you're not an observant, strict Jew.
No, I'm a Hasid, but that's all. I stay in on the Sabbath.
I can tell your curls.
they're getting
curls
a little
are
wild
up here.
No, I don't really observe. Yeah. Her mom was happy that I didn't look Jewish. That Jewish, which is like pretty.
You mean the horns and the hook nose?
Yeah,
and
I don't look like Larry David. She's happy about that.
Yeah.
Which she told me. That's a weird compliment.
You think?
Yeah.
Imagine if you were black and light skinned. Oh, thank God you don't look that black.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's similar.
Yeah. But they're such nice people. They really are. And it bothers me.
I thought you were talking about black people.
All of them. I think they're all nice. I think they're all nice people.
I do. I love everyone.
Well, let's get into the intervention stuff if you're up for it.
Yes.
Okay. Let's pivot out of this. Intervention.
I got stuck. Yes, intervention. Go ahead.
You moved to LA from Syracuse directly?
After graduation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were like, entertainment is where I'm headed.
I knew I wanted to be in television at 8 years old.
Wow. So when you went to college, you were thinking about television all the time. Did you study television or something like media?
Yeah.
Okay. And you didn't know how, or did you? What? You started doing stand up. Was that what you thought long term?
I came out to LA to go into comedy, and I ended up in tragedy.
Yes. No. Exactly. Which is a fascinating trajectory. When I tell people, because I mention use, like I'll say, like today someone says, who are you interviewing? I say I'm interviewing the guy who created Intervention, and they go, how do you know that guy? And I go, he's a comic. And
how do you know that guy?
Well, no, they're like, how would you know that guy?
Yeah.
You do stand up.
Yeah.
And that's not what they intend. No, but nobody thinks that makes sense. Nobody.
Oh, particularly my friends from back home who only know me as a funny guy.
Yes.
Like, what the hell is he doing in awfulness? I mean,
yeah.
The truth is, Intervention came out of a joke.
Right. Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah. I mean,
It was a bit that you were doing on stage?
No. There was a bit that we were doing around the family. My father wears too much cologne.
Uh-huh.
And there's the old-fashioned spill and slap, it's bracing, right?
Uh-huh.
And, I mean, it's awful. I mean, like, you kiss him and you, like, taste it. He hold the kids, and my son was a baby at the time, and we go, oh God, it's Dad, and we'd have to.
The kid.
Oh yeah, we'd have to bring my son home and bathe him because he was like Dad was all over him. And one time, and we always talked about Dad, please don't too much, please, because he would just before we would all go out to dinner, we would be stuck in a car with him, and I mean choking from the cologne. Mm-hmm. And so my wife and I were at an art fair, in Beverly Hills at a park, and I'm pushing the stroller with, our 18-month-old son. And I don't know, I went like this, and I said, oh my God, it's Dad. And my father had pushed the stroller a month prior, and the cologne from his hands was still on the handlebars of the stroller. And I called my sister and I said, we got to do an intervention on Dad with the cologne. I mean, enough is enough, right? And then intervention, poop, went into my head.
But your show is like, you're not doing cologne interventions. You're doing like, I can't stop mainlining morphine and heroin. Sure. And I gambled my house away, and now everyone in my family is like living in a ditch somewhere. And that came from cologne intervention?
It did. See, we realized that not a lot of people were doing interventions on cologne.
No, but how do you get from our sarcastic, on some level, the sardonic cologne intervention to real hardcore documentary style intervention?
It is like any idea that someone comes up with and has just a notion, right? And they fiddle with it, the idea, right? At first, it was, I actually was developing it for MTV.
Right.
And it was going to be sort of a combination of hardcore interventions and light stuff.
Okay.
Right. So it was all, college aged problems,
it's
right?
The MTV version of the idea.
Yeah. I said it's everything from bad hair to bulimia. Mm-hmm. Right.
Which makes sense for MTV. And it turned into True Life probably, right? Or
no.
That was not related.
Different. I mean, in fact, and I told the gentleman, Jonathan, who was the creator and executive producer of True Life, that was a show that inspired me greatly in its storytelling.
Yeah,
and
I thought that was a good show.
It's a great show.
Yeah,
great show. And great people that created and produced that show, and very much doc. And so that
I remember the one where the guy got fake calves. I remember that pretty vividly.
See, that would be a lighter.
Yeah, it's lighter
intervention.
It's still kind of dark, but it's lighter.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can giggle at that.
Yes.
But then you go, he got fake calves.
He's not giggling. That's a sad man.
No, yeah. Yeah. I mean, people putting things on. I've wanted to take things off for a while, never to put anything on. But that was sort of the North Star. Like, I really wanted to make it as doc as you can get. And intervention is almost entirely documentary, except for the intervention itself, because and even the interventions are real.
Right.
But we provide an interventionist, right? If it weren't for us, the family wouldn't have an interventionist or a treatment center.
Right.
So those are the two insertions
Yeah, sure.
into their lives.
You're helping.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean,
Not technically a
that's-
documentary.
Right.
Yes.
If we interfere in their life, providing
Help.
those things, and that's what makes it not true doc.
Got
But
it.
other than that,
Now
I mean,
is
the
that-
intervention itself is
That's
a doc. I mean,
yeah,
it's
100%.
yeah. I mean, there's nothing faked about it whatsoever.
Now, do people feel a certain way about that? Do you think people respect documentaries more than something that's not technically a documentary, or what effect does that have? I don't. Does that matter too much on the way the show is perceived or anything like that? To me, it all seems the same, relatively speaking.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, people who are true documentarians
They turn their
sniff.
nose up.
Absolutely.
Okay, got it.
Absolutely. And a lot of the time with good reason, right?
There are also plenty of bad documentaries that are still technically documentaries, right? Just because it's a documentary doesn't mean it's good.
Well, I don't love the classic documentary.
Documentaries started getting good like a few years ago. That's what it seems like to me. Like amazing, like you can't stop watching. They used to be like, and I love Ken Burns, but that's a slow doc.
I don't love, and he's of course,
Knows what he's
extremely
doing.
talented genius. All that.
Sure.
I don't love talking heads, still photos,
It's boring.
and
It's like a podcast.
and footage, historical footage.
Yeah.
Right. The thing about intervention is it's in the now.
Mm-hmm.
It's active storytelling with someone at their lowest point right now.
Yep.
And most docs aren't like that. You know, what was Grey Gardens was that,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, sure.
Grey Gardens was that. And it's difficult to find that, right?
Yeah.
But in intervention, you know, the casting of it and the storytelling of it, it's endemic to the entire show, right? Because everyone in it is living a life that is extremely dramatic, has a ton of conflict, a ton of stakes, right? And so, and life and death,
Right,
you know,
right.
stakes.
Of course.
And so that we don't have to create conflict.
Right.
It's there already. Right? I mean, they lucked out with Grey Gardens because I don't believe that their intention was to, and I shouldn't talk out of my ass, but I don't believe that their intention was originally to uncover, you know, a mother and daughter who were very unwell, you know, living in shambles, right? I don't think that was their original intent. They happened to find it,
Right. A lot of
and
the best,
did a beautiful job, you know,
Filming it, of
filming it. Yeah,
a lot of the best documentaries are accidents. No question. They set out to film something and then something even more interesting happens.
yeah.
Like that, remember Icarus? Did you see that one on Netflix?
I didn't.
It's good. But the whole point is it was the genesis of it was not a great, it was like, this guy's going to do steroids and go cycle. Who cares? And then he uncovered the Russian steroid scandal during the Olympics. That's interesting.
Right.
It went from something that's like really nothing to award winning. It won an Oscar, I think. It was like the best one.
Well, I just lucked out in creating a show where the drama was built in.
Yeah. But you have purpose. The difference between some of these documentarians and you, it sounds like, is you kind of know where you're headed on some level, or do you not?
Well, we know where we're hopefully headed.
Yeah.
I mean, some people say no to go to treatment, you know, and it's terribly sad. And, you know, we've had our share of deaths from people afterwards, you know, overdosing, and suicides and the like. And so we hope everybody will go to treatment, and most do. And we have an incredible success rate with folks going to treatment and staying in recovery. So we're very, very fortunate. Well, we partner with the best treatment centers in the country, and they get 90 days inpatient,
Yep.
which most people can't get, which is why
You're doing a service.
treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
are.
mean,
No question. You're helping people.
Yes, which I'm so glad about. One of the first reviews that we got was written by my hometown paper, the Boston Globe. And this guy said that intervention was vile. Now, mind you, he did not review the show. He reviewed our ethics. You can't know what our ethics are unless you call us to interview us.
Right.
You can't know what kind of care we take with all these folks. You can't possibly.
That's not part of the show.
You can't possibly know what our ethics are
behind the scenes
by looking at TV.
Right.
And what he was doing was he was projecting whatever his preconceived notions of television producers are onto us. And he could look at his own newspaper or most news outlets who interview people in duress, and then they're done and they leave. Now, I don't blame them for that, right? That's news is that, and they can't afford to save the world and help people. They can't. I mean, we can't afford to help everyone that contacts us, which is really a bummer.
That's how you get your subjects or the people on the show. They contact you.
The family does.
Right. Okay.
The family does, and so the subjects know that it's a documentary about their addiction, right? And we tell the truth about everything except we leave out that it's intervention. And it's not like we get there with cameras and they think it's, a home, makeover show.
Right.
They are telling us their most awful and showing us the worst, pieces of their lives. And then there's an intervention with help. And so that's the secret. And I rest my head on the pillow pretty easy with that.
Despite the Boston Globe review.
Oh, but that son of a bitch.
I am the most interesting thing to me is how you get from, first of all, the cologne joke.
Yeah.
An inner family joke.
Yes.
Not even like a stage joke, just a between siblings joke.
Yes.
To pitching to MTV. That seems like a pretty big leap in and of itself.
Well, I didn't just knock on the door. I was working on other stuff for them.
Okay, so you were like under contract, or you were pitching a lot of stuff to them.
I was a freelance writer, and I would take little jobs here and there, and that's how we all, hopefully try to make it at the beginning.
Of course,
taking anything we can get and saying thank you very much, even if it's awful.
Yeah.
Because I think that there is dignity in every single job, and everything's a learning experience. And so, I took these jobs, and then I was on one of them, and they said, listen, if you have any ideas for nonfiction stuff, for reality stuff. And that was an idea I brought to them, and they said, ooh. And that's how it, I was already there.
And they were interested.
With the ear of executives.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then how does it transpire with them? And then how does it go to another network?
I was scheduled to go to New York on September 12th of 2001.
Okay.
And the day before that, something pretty
hideous.
That
was who was in the Super Bowl that year? Does that matter?
It's not the Super Bowl.
I know.
Yeah. So New York had some pretty awful things happen.
Yeah, rough year for the Jets. It was a bad year. No. Always a rough year.
Really?
No, that was obviously something catastrophic happened. You were supposed to fly out there for a meeting?
No, to start
start
working
shooting.
on it.
Got it,
No,
got it,
not
okay.
working, pre-production, developing. And that, of course, didn't happen.
Yeah.
And MTV for, I don't know how many weeks it was. They were actually showing the live feed from CBS News. They weren't showing any of the regular programming.
Of course.
And so nothing sad was going to go on the air for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just faded off and didn't happen with them. And then 2 years later, I was on the phone with a childhood friend named Rob Sharonow, who was now he's president at A&E, but he was just coming in as a development exec and talking on the phone, and we had always shared projects, and I don't know what brought intervention to my head, because he was saying, I'm hearing terrible show ideas, and then I brought up intervention. He goes, oh my God, send it to me now.
Wow.
And
you sent him like your treatment or whatever you had.
Yeah,
ready?
I mean, then you could sell things on paper.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you can't, unless it's a huge star, you're not selling anything on paper.
Of course.
And so, yeah, I mean, within 3 weeks, I had a deal. And I mean, and quick. And it was just amazing. Everything right happened with that show. And it was the first show I ever sold. And so it's very unusual for your first show to, last a season or even get past pilot stage.
Sure.
Never mind 300 plus episodes almost 20 years later.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's
an amazing
weird.
accomplishment. So
It's
by
weird.
everything going right, what typically goes wrong that went right?
You can't find cast. That's the biggest thing in nonfiction and reality.
So people were just submitting themselves, or you just found them luckily?
I went to 12-step meetings every day. And we wanted to go for gambling for the pilot episode. Because we frankly didn't want to scare the network off.
Got it. Something safe.
By doing alcohol and drugs.
So
And
you were recruiting at 12-step meetings, basically.
no, it wasn't as it. No.
You were doing
no,
research.
that would be untoward. Ben.
Sorry, I got to maintain your reputation.
No, I attended.
Just to learn.
Yes, to learn.
Okay.
I announced who I was.
Got it.
So if they didn't want me there, I would leave. Right?
Yeah, that's
Because
what you do. When you're doing field research, that's generally what you do. You say, "This is who I am."
Yes, if you don't want me here, I wasn't taking notes about anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I said nothing you say here today is going to go anywhere except up here for my edification.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I used that fancy word.
Yeah, that's right.
No,
So
I
you
know
could learn.
I was right with the word. I don't know if I used it
in front of them. Yeah,
in front of anyone. I don't know.
Well, in front of a bunch of gambling addicts, that probably isn't the best thing. Or
funny enough,
whoever it is.
I met the subject for our pilot episode at a Friday night Shabbat Gamblers Anonymous meeting. Emmis.
Interesting.
True. Yes.
A Shabbat meeting.
Oh, sure.
That's real?
What do you mean that's real?
That's like it was like a Jewish meeting?
I mean, if it was Shabbat, sure.
Yeah. I just didn't know they did that.
That who did Jews celebrate Shabbat or
the Jews have meetings?
We run Hollywood. There are tons of meetings.
Sure.
I haven't been invited to a single one. that is the word. That is the stereotype is so stupid because there are tons of Jewish people in this business, but we hate each other. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to a restaurant and seen, 6 Jews sitting at a table. By the end, they're screaming at each other.
That's
right?
a lot of arguing.
Oh yeah,
I mean, worrying.
To think that we could conspire together is laughable.
It's true
because we don't get along with each other. Never mind anyone else.
No, you're right about that. The idea that we're in cahoots, it's like we're all, you mean we're debating each other? Yes. What are we doing?
Yeah, no, it was available to us as a business because it was looked at as low and dirty
Absolutely.
and ungodlike.
Yep.
Let the Jews do that. It's filthy.
Back when like movie stars were on pills and stuff,
Right.
and they were under contract and they got no money. Let's let the Jews
Yeah,
be behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, I mean, actors and producers and directors, that was a low way to make money,
Yep.
right? I mean, it was as low as being like a drug dealer. It really was.
Yeah. I've heard that. It's hard to fathom, but I've heard it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it reminds me of when I was a kid and my family belonged to a country club. It was Jewish country club.
Yeah.
And I would get, shit from people I knew, friends who said, your club is, Jews. Don't you think that's a bit prejudiced? I said, well, if you'd let us into your club, we wouldn't have to have our own.
So that is pretty funny. They never let Jews in a country club. That's the only reason there are Jewish country clubs.
That's the only reason.
Well, yeah, and it's
we weren't lent to the others. I mean, that's the same thing with entertainment. They allowed us to do it, so now, we took advantage of it, and
we're doing pretty well.
Yes, and we're dramatic people who many have lived dramatic lives, especially throughout the generations. When you're the most hated folks, your life tends to be fairly dramatic. Yep. Conflict equals drama, and dealing with it through humor or what have you. I mean, that's why there's so many Jewish comedians.
We end with a Q&A segment.
Okay.
Called Ben Changed My Life. It says Ben Changed My Life at the bottom here.
You're change my life?
There should be a song playing. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to change your life. Hopefully we'll change someone's life.
I hope someone does.
Chris is
Look at me.
Chris is going to ask us a question, and then we're going to try to answer.
Oh,
right?
Chris is over there. Yeah. Everybody, you can't see him.
I'm actually going to ask Sam a question because I grew up watching Intervention. Like it's kind of
thanks. I don't feel old at all.
Well, it's kind of blowing my mind that I'm in the same room as someone who created something that's like a massive part of pop culture.
Chris, it blows my mind that I'm in the same room with you too. For entirely different reasons.
All right, I don't got a question anymore.
Go. Sorry.
So I have a million questions, but I think I'm going to use my time wisely and see if I can get some kind of producing wisdom from you.
Oh boy.
So you have, Intervention's over 20 seasons long.
Yes, it is.
That's incredible. What are some lessons that you learned from maybe the first couple seasons that, helped you get to 20 something seasons, and, or even just like, what did you change from season 20 that you knew you needed to change from the first couple seasons?
I got to tell you, we haven't changed a hell of a lot.
That's impressive too.
Yeah. I'll tell you, first, it's don't force it. You can't force a joke. You can't force a story. If something doesn't feel interesting, riveting, exciting, don't do it. People will take an idea that at first glance they go, ooh, and then they, and I get pitched all the time, by the way. I get pitched all the time.
By me.
Really bad ideas. No, you're not. You're not.
It's a good idea. You like the idea.
Yeah.
No,
No,
you don't like the show. You like the idea.
But I like what we could do with that.
Yeah,
show.
yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
you get bad pitches.
I get pitches from people that are usually just a scene, right? And it's one joke. It's like one joke, so this guy, like, he goes into a bar and then like someone hits him over the head.
I've made those pitches before.
And it's like, that's 5 seconds of airtime. Yeah. But don't force something that isn't good and doesn't feel right, or or you change it so many times it's nothing like it was when you've got to know that it is like I said, really incredibly interesting, not just right. It's got to be outrageously. No, you can't turn away from it.
So you're talking nonfiction, or you're just talking anything?
Anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Of course.
You've got to be like, it can't just be like, oh, that's interesting. It's got to be like, holy shit, I can't believe it's never been done before.
Right.
Oh, it's perfect. This is, and you've got to, think about a story arc and that it makes sense that you can, carry this for 22 or 44 minutes. That may seem really simplistic, but people come up with just really like banal ideas that they think, wouldn't it be good if a show about this were on the air? Because there's not a show about this, right?
What's
and there's a reason there's not a show about that.
Getting as specific as possible,
Yeah.
What is the worst pitch you've ever gotten?
Oh, shit.
You don't have to name name. You don't have to say who
I
said
don't
it.
know what the worst pitch is because I hear so many bad ones.
Well, what's
right?
close to the
Oh,
bottom?
no. I mean, like, I get a lot of pitches about death and disease.
What do you mean? Like cancer patients or something? What do you?
Oh,
what-
yeah. Yeah.
Like a reality show about cancer?
Yeah.
It's a horrible idea.
You think? I mean,
My
I don't want
$600
to. I don't know want to tell you. Spoil what the end is.
Yeah, exactly.
But
you just
it's
watch people
it's-
die.
Yeah. I mean,
That
like,
sounds bad.
no matter, and people saying, basically a last wish, like a bucket list.
Well, like,
And it's like, okay, that's lovely. At the end, they still die.
well, the Make-A-Wish kids. There's some shows about that are pretty, but you don't watch them die.
No,
I mean, that would be pretty tough to watch.
right? It's
Yeah.
sad, and
Yeah.
I mean, listen. I'm sure that there are shows that are very well done. Usually they're scripted, right? You can handle a show like 6 Feet Under. I'm dating myself.
If it's a fictional narrative.
But yes,
Yeah.
it's a fictional narrative. You don't know the people that are dying. They're
course.
actors that are dying, and you could be sad,
Yes.
right? But it's not an actual person that you can say that's
100%.
They're really dying.
No, if The Sopranos is a documentary, everyone's going to jail. I mean, that it falls apart immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting away, so it's even tougher to toe that line with nonfiction because you need to make sure that people aren't too sad. They need to feel strongly but not be depressed.
There's got to be some hope,
Yeah. Yes.
right? I mean, I believe that, at least in all of my stuff, that there has to be some hope.
Uh-huh.
Even and you can't cure something, right? I mean, like, we don't in 2 seconds show someone who's been an addict for 20 years and show them 100% better,
Right.
right? Because we don't want to tell a false narrative either, right? But we do show the first day of the rest of their lives, right? So there is actual.
It ends with hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't. But for the most part, we're showing that recovery is possible,
Right.
and that's a big deal.
No, I bet it's inspiring. I bet a lot of people enter recovery just because they watch the show.
Oh,
You get letters, I'm sure. Yeah.
yep. It's very, very humbling that
Yeah.
people, actually will say, yeah, I watched the show, and then I called rehab
Makes a lot of sense.
the next day.
I'm actually, I'm not addicted to anything. I'm going to go to rehab after this. That's my plan. I'm
Well,
just going to show up. I'm just going to see if I can get in.
you may say you're not addicted.
No, I got my stuff. Everybody has stuff.
Yeah. And some
What
of
do
us-
you think I'm addicted to?
I don't know. You have a camera on you and a light.
Yeah, sure. That's true. Everybody's got their.
And you're not
their
getting
issues.
paid for it.
Nope, no one's getting paid.
So I don't want to say tension.
Of course,
That
of
would
course.
be-
Well, there's like side addictions, like
Sure.
I mean, on some level, it's like there's a million things you could be addicted to, and everyone has like a percentage of those things. Like your caffeine addiction is not as bad as it was, but it's or whatever.
Right.
Say it
Well-
was at 100 before, now it's at 20. It's still
No,
there,
and it was never an addiction. Like, because I stopped I stopped in one day.
you were able to stop.
It's if you have an addiction, it's not easy to stop.
Right.
Right. And I can have one a month and not go full, blast. So this was not an addiction. I just did it a lot.
You sound like one of your patients.
No,
a
I
little
don't
bit.
because they say I don't want to stop.
Oh yeah, I've seen that on your show.
I
Definitely.
don't want to. I just,
I know.
and I wanted to.
and I don't want to stop.
Yeah, I wanted to.
No, you're right. You're
And
right.
and did but I'm able, because if I were an addict, then I wouldn't be able to stop after one.
No, that's interesting. You're right. The cliche is that all addicts say, I can stop. But in actuality, most addicts go, I don't want to stop. I have no interest in stopping.
Yes,
Yeah.
the folks in denial, and then there are folks that are not in denial and still are terrified of stopping, because what will happen? This is the way my life is
Right,
now.
right. They're dependent.
And that's, change is scary.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. This is a weird place to end it, but we are about to end the podcast. Change is scary.
I hate this.
You were great.
Why did I do that?
You were a great guest. You're
Oh.
awesome. We want to end with hope. Let's say something hopeful.
Please like me.
You were great. You're a great guest. Is there anything? I mean, obviously, your show is extremely popular. I don't know if you need to plug your show, but is there anything?
We
that
got
you-
new episodes coming up.
There
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're currently on,
a few.
producing a new season, and listen, I'm very, very blessed and grateful to have something last this long and to have the impact it does.
No, it's really cool. Is there anything else that you want to promote that you're doing? No, personally, are you doing any shows? You did a show in Boston with what was his name?
That was in the summer.
No,
I
but
have
are you-
not been
are you-
up-
are you
I have
doing that
not
again?
Been on stage since the summer.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
But you're not doing any shows at Flappers or anything that you want to tell people
No,
about?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm at home developing stuff.
Okay.
Trying to sell.
Uh-huh.
Please like me. Buy my shows. That's, a little dog and pony. Cha-cha-cha.
Well, if you buy shows, then definitely buy Sam's shows. If you're
Sure.
watching, yeah, I don't. I'm sure there's someone who's a buyer. It was great having you on.
Ben, it was great to be had.
Yeah, and you'll hear more from Sam and me moving forward. I don't know how to end this episode. It was great. Thank you guys.
Happy Passover.
Yes, happy Passover.
Belated happy Easter.
Thanks for tuning
Happy
in.
spring.
Yes, springtime, Passover, all that stuff.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.